All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. So, hello everyone, and welcome to our sixth and final speaker series session at the Ras Al Khaimah Art Festival. Excuse me. Our session for today is titled "Fast Forward to the Future: Rethinking Environmental Sustainability in a New Era." And today we will be delving into environmental challenges as well as opportunities for sustainability in the UAE, especially after the conclusion of COP28. Inviting various green experts, this session will reflect on how we can promote environmental sustainability and also move towards continued meaningful engagement with our surroundings and planet. My name is Janan Farhat, and I work as a research associate at the Al Qasmi Foundation for Policy Research. And it is my great pleasure to introduce to you our lovely speakers for today. Immediately to my left, we have Ms. Rima Afani. She is a curator at the Emirates Soil Museum at the International Center for Biosaline Agriculture. Welcome, Rima. Our second speaker for today is Dr. Uday Kumar, who is an assistant professor in chemical engineering at the American University of Ras Al Khaimah, and also a director, coordinator, and lab manager at the Iraq Research and Innovation Center. Welcome, Dr. Uday. Our third speaker for today is Dr. Ali Al-Amoudi. He is an environmental specialist and former sustainability advisor to the United Nations Development Program. Welcome, Dr. Ali. And last but not least, we have Mr. Thibaut Burkhardt. He's an exploration manager at RAK Gas. He's our neighbor in the RAK Gas building. The Al Qasmi Foundation is also situated there. Welcome to our lovely panelists. So I have our first question for today for you, Rima. So as a curator at the Emirates Soil Museum, could you perhaps share with us some key environmental sustainability initiatives undertaken in the Gulf, maybe focusing on initiatives related to soil conservation and preservation?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much, Gina. First of all, thanks for having me with you. Can everyone hear me? So I'll first start by introducing the center where the Emirates. Is it good now? All right, I'll start by introducing the center where the Emirates Soil Museum is located. That is the International Center for Biosaline Agriculture. It is an international not-for-profit agricultural applied research center with the vision of a world where sustainable livelihood are ensured for everyone living in. So we operate here in the UAE, but also in over 40 countries across the globe. And our work focuses on identifying, testing different solutions that are suited to marginal environments, and these are regions that are. Let's do that, sorry. I was too bad with So testing different solutions in extreme environmental conditions such as salinity, drought, water scarcity, and other challenges. So the center by itself is already a great example, is a local initiative for environmental conservation in the UAE and in the region. Adding to that, well, the government of the UAE being one of the co-founders of the center and also one of the core donors, we've been working very closely with the government to provide technical assistance and other support for very specific projects that can help with environmental conservation, also food security, improve agricultural practices, and also water resources. Our scientists have been working on testing different crops. So these are called the resource efficient and climate smart crops, but also identifying different approaches, more sustainable approaches for using water, fresh water, and also new technologies for using alternative water sources in agriculture. We've also worked very closely with policymakers and decision makers by providing them with evidence-based recommendations and also for formulating strategies when it comes to management of more sustainable management of natural resources and environmental conservation. And that includes the UAE national agricultural and water conservation strategies. When it comes to land degradation and soil conservation, as you mentioned, some of the major projects included, first of all, some pioneering research on improving the quality of soil, but also identifying different forages or alternative forages. These are the salt-tolerant grasses that seem to be a great substitute to the conventional ones that not only they yield more than the conventional ones, but also they help save water and also improve and rehabilitate salt-affected soils. Now, another major project was the National Soil Survey. Not sure if people are very much familiar with this project, but it's very, very important. It's a very important initiative when it comes to environmental conservation. So that was a project conducted in partnership with Environment Agency, Abu Dhabi, and team of scientists from ICBA that basically was where we had a team of scientists who were able to classify different types of soils found in the UAE. So first it was done according to the US soil classification system, and then there was a mapping and reclassification according to the World Reference Base, which is the international soil classification system. And that has led to the inauguration of a very unique facility here in the UAE, but also in the region, and that is the Emirates Soil Museum, which everyone is welcome to visit, of course. And since its inauguration in 2016, the center has grown really into a knowledge hub for anyone wanting to learn about soil, but also for researchers and students seeking more data and information about soils. But it's open to the public, so we're really there to tell more about the role of soils in the environment and the ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Rima. Wow, this mic is good. That's really interesting, and I think, like, I freely and readily admit that I don't know much about soil, but the impact of soil even on the environment and also achieving climate change is very, very interesting, especially when you look at mangroves. Because I know from some of our wonderful colleagues at New York University, Abu Dhabi, Dr. John Burt, that the soil that mangroves are planted in acts as a carbon sink. So they can hold, I think, 5 times as much carbon dioxide, like compared to other trees. So soil is very, very cool, and I think it's a pity that we don't talk enough about soil and land and other environmental resources that are very important to also combating climate change. So thank you so much for that. Dr. Uday, I have my first question for you. So of course, Dr. Uday is an academic. And that's why we have a question for him on academia. So could you perhaps elaborate on potential collaboration between academia and local industries in Ras Al Khaimah to implement and scale up sustainable water purification technologies in the region?
Definitely. Thank you very much, Jinan. First of all, thank you for inviting me onto this panel. So this is a wonderful evening. This environment is, I was a little bit concerned at 4 o'clock. Okay, it is a little bit hot, but once coming here, it is very cool and it's a pleasure to talk here. So coming to the research that we do at AURAC and also RAK Research and Innovation Center. So we are working in various range of sustainability technologies related to the water, not only the water, energy, and also the waste. So that's all combined together that we have to act towards the sustainability. So it's not about the water, but we need to combine with the waste or energy that is required for the water infrastructure and make solutions optimizing the systems. So for the past 15 years, the RAK Research and Innovation Center, which is one of the pioneering research center in Ras Al Khaimah, we started with renewable energy technologies and basically working on solar energy-driven desalination systems, or the water purification systems. So here, the Gulf region, so most of the water that we get here is from the desalination. So we use the Persian Gulf, and the water is desalinated, and we are using that water for potable applications, even for the agriculture. We are using the Gulf saline water. So what is important that we have to address the issue in the water purification the water production, the technologies are now very much saturated. The reverse osmosis, the membrane technology is widely used around, and many desalination plants are running around that technology. But one of the important aspect of the issue is the energy consumption and also the brine that is released to the environment. So if you look at the history of the brine, history of the water quality of the sea, the Persian Gulf, it has been raised from almost 38,000 ppm to almost 45,000 ppm now in the past few years. So because whatever the brine that is generating by the desalination plants around the coast, they are sending the brine back into the seawater that creates imbalance in the ecosystem, the marine environment that is living over there. So that issue has to be addressed, and we have embarked on a journey to tackle this brine that is coming from the desalination industry. So one of the way that we are looking into the modern technology is called membrane distillation, so which is a combination of the membrane and also thermal processes. And I have been working on that technology for the past few years, and we are looking into the zero liquid discharge basically. So by extracting all the valuable resources out of the brine, like the lithium, bromine that can be used in different applications. So we are working in that area. And of course, academia cannot alone do that, so we need to have the partners. So I always look for triple helix, government and industry and academia work together to bring out the tangible solutions for the region. So in this aspect, so I've been working with the public works in the Ras Al Khaimah and also collaborating with the international companies that is working startups and also developing new innovative technologies to bring into this region. And RK Research and Innovation Center is the place where we can do the demonstration projects, where we work with the renewable energy systems integration and develop demonstration project to show the feasibility of those technologies in the region. As a researchers, we work on the qualitative and the quantitative data in terms of the performance, and at the same time, the industry will fine-tune or optimize the technology that could be fit into this region. That's on the water production side, and another area that we are looking on the wastewater treatment as well, so which is another source of water that has to be reused in a proper way to be sustainable. So right now, the public works is treating the wastewater and supplying for all the landscaping around the region and all around the UAE. At the same time, we are also looking to remove what can I say, toxic pollutants in the wastewater, and we are developing some sustainable solutions like reed bed technology. It's one of the technology that we are collaborating with the local partner to remove pesticides or different kind of toxic elements in the wastewater before it goes to the agriculture. So that's one of the area that we are looking. So the collaboration is very important as an academician. So we work with the industry and the local government to make sustainable solutions for the region. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Uday. And it's great to hear actually that that research is so well connected. Hello? Yeah. It's so great to hear that research is so well connected to industry. And I think that's a challenge in various types of research, but making sure that theory and application are connected is actually a problem. And as someone who works in research, I'm so happy to hear that this connection is maintained and collaboration is ongoing, because that's the only way that we can pilot. Thanks. It's the only way we can pilot our theory and make sure that we find solutions to our problems. Apparently, there's a little bit of a mic malfunction, so excuse me. Dr. Ali, I have my first question for you. So given your extensive experience with serving as a Sustainable Development Advisor to the United Nations, what key insights can you share about the progress made in addressing environmental challenges globally, but also how can these lessons be applied to the unique context of the UAE?
First of all, I would like to thank you, Mr. Jinan, and to thank all the respective audience here. They are here to listen to what we, as an experts, have in our minds and our thought world. As a matter of fact, as Ms. Jinan has mentioned, there was a part of my life, like almost 2 decades, I worked with United Nations, especially UNDP, United Nations Development Program, in the sense of developing the sustainable development issues worldwide. This, if I can just give very brief definition for the sustainability or the sustainable development, where everyone now hears the word sustainability. Of course, here we are very proud in UAE that Sheikh Mohammed, our ruler, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, have extended 2024 as the second year for sustainability. Now, sustainability or sustainable development started in 1992, where the whole world came and they ring the warning bell that we have to do something with United Nations, the whole world, because of the ration, or I can say the evaluation of the impact of the global warming, the greenhouse gases, and the carbon emissions. And you know that last year, COP28 was the media for the whole world, where they came here in UAE to discuss this issue. Now, the environmental challenges, it's coming, it's widening more, and especially in the least developing countries, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, and Latin American, all these places where, they face the challenge of the global warming and the rise of the carbon, especially the greenhouse gases, for the emission of our activities as a human in our day-to-day life, besides the industry and all these matters. Now, to see or to address the key insights of the environmental challenges is not an easy issue. This is, it has to be done collectively between nations. That's why the United Nations gathered all the stakeholders in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro, and they start to say, we have to sustain our living, sustain our social life, that we can keep something for our grandchildren for the future, where we have to maintain a quality of life for them. Because the rate, of degradation, of environmental, especially degradation of the resources, agriculture, and water especially, and all things that you think about it was declining because of our unsustainable practices that we do it due to the emission of the carbon, and especially the amount of carbon released from industry and from transportation, from our daily life as well. Now the trend went up high that the whole world said we have to sustain our living, that we have to maintain maintain this the Mother Earth that we own, and that's what they came out with COP, the Convention of Parties, to maintain the emission of the carbon emission as well. The other thing that it's very, very important, according to what you asked me, is how we can face these challenges. Of course, it is we have to maintain. We have to, either the stakeholders, the people themselves, the society, and they should be a concern. And the most important thing is the framing of policy strategies that the government or the nation have to implement it and to sustain it in each country. Now, the most important issue in this matter is that we have to listen or to decrease our footprint, our carbon footprint. And this is very important for every one of us. Also, we have to educate our next generation that we need to maintain a roof for our day-to-day or daily practices, daily living, to maintain the carbon. And the number one in carbon in the footprint, elevation, or is the electricity that we are using. So now the trend is going towards the renewable energy, and also the as it is here, the nuclear energy as well. In UAE, they are now having, Baraka, and the generation of electricity from these, huge or mega generation of electricity, of energy as well. It's a must. First of all, it's a clean energy. We don't have any emission. I mean, the carbon emission, it's minimized, and we are going now to the trend of having our future perspective of generating the electricity. It's from the trend that we need to sustain it in a good manner. There should be the triangle, which I have to mention it. The triangle is very important in sustainability. It's economy, so we have to go for green economy. We have to go for our recycling or the circular economy as well. So everyone has to play his role as well. And society, the social matters, the spread of the know-how, and how people, schools, the green learning, all these matters has to come side by side. And the third triangle is the environmental parameters, the environmental challenges, our water, air, and food that we eat. All these, triangles or all these perspectives has to come in a way for the next generation in a very acceptable way. That's what the United Nations have come out with the 17 SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals, which has to be implemented by all the nations, all countries. So we have to sustain and to meet these environmental challenges.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ali. And thank you also for talking about the role that everyone has to play in achieving environmental sustainability, because it's not something just for industry or just for academia. It's also something for us as people living on this earth, and valuing our environment is incredibly important. So thank you for providing that perspective in relation to the SDGs and United Nations. Mr. Thibault, I have my first question for you. So could you perhaps share any specific initiatives or projects at RACGAS that demonstrate a commitment to environmental stewardship and sustainability?
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. Good afternoon. So I guess here I'm representing the industry, and I think through the industry what we seek is to offer solution, to offer alternative. And what I would like to discuss today specifically are two initiatives which RACGAS and RACPA, the Petroleum Authority, have been busy with over the last 2 or 3 years. And these have to do with alternative source of energy. Now, we talked about carbon intensity. Well, it so happens that amongst the many wonders of the UAE and Ras Al Khaimah, there are a specific type of rock which is present in very large abundance in the south of Ras Al Khaimah. Those rocks are mantle rocks, a type of rock very rich in iron and manganese. And magnesium, sorry. And those rocks have the natural property, the natural characteristics to naturally emit hydrogen and sequester CO2. Now, this is a real interesting observation. There actually has been a lot of publication on academia about the potential of those rocks, which are commonly referred to as ophiolite, to emit hydrogen and to sequester CO2. So this is the first observation, and we are working towards the technical aspects of this challenge, working with academia, working with consultants in trying to understand, trying to fathom how this could be turned into a commercial, into an industrial production of hydrogen, which, as we know, is a very low carbon intensity fuel, right? So the hydrogen come in different type. 95% of the hydrogen currently produced in the world is made from gas. It's referred to as gray hydrogen. It does emit CO2. Now, the natural hydrogen, as present in the rock of Ras Al Khaimah, or referred to as gold hydrogen, is produced from the subsurface. So it naturally comes with zero carbon intensity, which is very exciting. UAE is going on a very large initiative with hydrogen. So, you will see that Abu Dhabi, Dubai have a lot of initiative, a lot of project towards green hydrogen, which is also a very, environmentally interesting aspects. Gold hydrogen is another one. The other aspect of this, of those rocks, the other part of this interesting opportunity is the carbon sequestration. Now, on top of some cultural and a lot of very interesting feature, Ras Al Khaimah also has a lot of industries, right, which we see not very far from here. Cement industry, which is a key resource, which is needed for our society, glass industry, other semi-heavy industries. Those industries naturally emit CO2. Now, they are so-called hard-to-abate industries. It's difficult to take away the CO2 from the creation of cement because it's part of it's part of the process. So, what we are working towards is a solution where those CO2 could be gathered, transported into the south of Ras Al Khaimah, and then injected in what is called a mineralization. What actually happened to that reaction is that the CO2 is binded with a rock to create calcite. So it is actually permanent. So we're very excited about this opportunity in Ragaz, and we're working with the government here in Ras Al Khaimah to make them live.
Thank you. Wow, I did not know that was possible. Did you say carbon would fuse with the rock, and then it would be essentially a way in which carbon could be sequestered and taken out of the environment?
Permanently, exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
So, well, if you go to some wadis, you will see on top of some pools what looks like salt, or would look like ice if we were in the mountain high. It is actually calcite. It's calcite naturally reacting with those rocks and creating and naturally sequestering CO2. Indeed.
And is this an expensive process?
Well, it's a natural process. It's free, right? So, of course, you need to sequester you need to gather the CO2, you need to bring it, so there is a cost associated with it. But you basically, the idea is to drill some wells. We know how to drill wells in our industry, and then inject the CO2 at, let's say, 2 or 3 kilometers, and let it naturally react with the ambient rock.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's a very interesting way of getting rid of carbon, I must say. I'd love to hear more about this maybe after the panel. I don't want to ask all my questions right now, but thank you so much for sharing. Rima, I'd like to circle back to you with another question. Given your expertise, especially in soil conservation, how can public education and awareness campaigns be tailored to address specific environmental challenges in the Gulf?
Yeah, of course. Environmental education and awareness campaigns play a crucial role when it comes to environmental conservation. It's very important to bring together all different stakeholders and always make sure that education and awareness is there. But it's also very important to have programs that clearly highlight the effect and the impact of different environmental challenges on sectors like agriculture, food security, and also livelihoods. So it's really important to shed the light on these direct and indirect impacts on people's daily lives and future prospects as well. Now at ICBA, of course, all of our research efforts are always accompanied by capacity development programs. And we put a very strong emphasis on always training and providing the skills and knowledge and capacities to our stakeholders at various levels, whether they're students, professionals, or farmers, or even policymakers. And of course, there are different approaches that can be tailored to specific challenges in the region. Obviously, coming from the Emirates Soil Museum, I would give that as a first example. So having very unique facilities that address specific topics. As I mentioned earlier, the Emirates Soil Museum is now dedicated to the role of soil in the ecosystem and in the environment, and also its role for food security and improving agricultural practices. But it also showcases the diversity of soils in the UAE and in the region. Adding to that, I would say maybe emphasizing more on science communication. So that is basically simplifying more complex scientific concepts so that they're more accessible to the public and they're easily understood by general public. Can be by using more engaging visuals, infographics, or different storytelling techniques. There are also some very engaging collaborative hands-on workshops, many of which we've included recently to our offerings at the museum. So there's this workshop called the Climate Fresk, for example, and others about biodiversity, soil, circular economy. So they're all about mapping out different cards that have, of course, scientific content coming from scientific reports, but that were put together in a more simplified way. So they are collaborative workshops that really promote more active and interactive engagement of the general public, and that really help foster exchange of ideas and dialogue, and also encourage people to take more action when it comes to environmental conservation. Another tailored approach, I would say, would be the long-term education, which in my opinion is extremely important. And of course at ICBA we focus a lot on that, so working with different educational settings, whether they're schools or universities, and always pushing for more integrated environmental programs and trying to have them integrated in the curriculum in order to instill more environmental stewardship and advocacy from very young age. And as much as possible encouraging outdoor learning experiences, and all of that, of course, while encouraging always partnerships and collaboration. So it's always better if we're together, engaging different stakeholders. And I would also add to that, always adding very strong monitoring and evaluation systems that allow space always for progress and improvement. So basically, by implementing these tailored approaches, we'll be able to have more effective programs that are specific to these challenges in the region. So addressing topics like that are specific to the local ecosystems, but for example, talking about desert landscapes, coastal habitats, marine life, etc. And by doing that, we'll be able to foster more sustainable responsibility and sustainability.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rima. That's great. I didn't know that there were so many interactive workshops that are also provided, you said, by the Emirates Soil Museum, right? So these workshops, for example, do they allow, let's say, are they only for children, or are they also...
Well, they would start at about age of 10, 12. depending on the workshop. But they would go, we run them a lot at companies, for example, with university students, with
that's
even
great.
policymakers. So it's like within like 3 hours intensive workshop, people can really get to understand what are the causes and consequences of certain human activities on the ecosystem, and really rethink their daily lives and how to take action, basically, to make things.
That's fantastic. Now I'm putting the Emirates Soil Museum on my bucket list of cool museums to check out in the UAE, and I encourage you all in the audience to do the same. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of the very cool activities that you guys do with the ICBA. Dr. Uday, I have my second question for you. Can you perhaps share any notable success stories or even practical implementations of your technologies that have positively impacted communities or industries?
Okay. Yeah. Coming back to the collaboration. So we had, as I mentioned, we had some good collaborations with the industry. So we alone could not able to deliver any solution that is tangible. So we work with the industry and to deliver the solution. So one of the success story, as I mentioning for the, as I mentioned previously about the wastewater treatment, using the reed bed technology. So we initiated the research with one of the industry in our research center. And that technology has been now widely implemented all over the UAE for the wastewater treatment. So one of the plant is right next here in Al Jazeera for one of the community in Al Jazeera for treating the wastewater coming from the community and growing these reeds which grow in this environment without any additional nutrients or anything. So they can grow on the wastewater and they can so they can use the oxygen that is coming. So they can use the release the oxygen by consuming the carbon dioxide that is coming with the wastewater. So and of course that technology has been also demonstrated in the Expo 2020. So there is a place where this reeds has been implanted in the Expo where they treated the wastewater coming from the Expo 2020 site.
So, so did you say that they would plant reeds in order to absorb, what is it, oxygen or no?
No, absorb the carbon dioxide.
They absorb carbon dioxide, okay.
But like that, release the oxygen, of course. The plants release the oxygen, right? And of course, and also at the same time, they absorb the waste nutrients that is harmful for the environment. So like different kind of pesticides that I'm mentioning, different kind of phenols, or any kind of materials that is toxic to the environment. So they can thrive upon them and they can grow and they can create a eco balance in the system. That's one of the success stories that is coming to the collaboration. And most recently, I've been working with another company called Proteum Technology, working on development of microalgae for carbon sequestration, and at the same time, tackling the issue of the brine. So what we are trying to do, so the microalgae, the marine microalgae, we are trying to get some marine microalgae that can grow in this environment, because it is very difficult for the algae to grow in this, sustain in this kind of environment. So there are some strains that we have identified at different lakes, salt lakes in the UAE, and we have been working on those strains and developing those strains to sequester carbon dioxide, and at the same time, as a nutrient source, they will consume the minerals or the nutrients that is coming from the desalination brine. So we are working on a prototype development right now, and we won Expo 2020. We won a grant in the COP28 actually for that project.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you very much. And now we are developing a pilot scale demonstration unit for that one. So we are working on a circular economy approach. The microalgae, whatever it grows, then we would like to convert that either into a food additive for the aquaculture, or it can be converted into sustainable aviation fuel. So we're working in those directions to create an impact for the local economy. So all our projects, as I'm mentioning, so right now going towards the circular economy approach, as Dr. Ali is mentioning as well. So we cannot produce something and we release it to the environment. So we need to make sure that So everything that comes out of any production process that is sustainable and there is no waste involved in the process. So circular economy is very important in that aspect. And of course, all the academia, of course, the government has to come up with the policies that will drive this kind in this direction. And the work that I've done with the Al-Qasmi Foundation is one on the circular economy, which is industrial decarbonization, industrial symbiosis. So as the RAG gas is doing efforts for carbon dioxide, taking from the industries and sequestering in the rocks, this is one of the circular economy approach. So these approaches has to be encouraged by the government with their policies and has to be implemented in the real scale to have a very good technological advancement in the region. Yeah.
As I was telling Dr. Uday right before we started the panel, I really enjoyed your policy paper. As someone who, I like to say I'm an environmentalist, but I don't think I do enough. We're all trying, but we fall short. But the policy paper is particularly interesting, and I love the emphasis on circular economy because again, it's about adopting a very holistic approach to mitigating the effects of climate change, but also having more sustainable alternatives. So if we have excess, if we have waste products, if we have toxins, how can we sustainably, let's say, get rid of them in a way that does not result in harm for us as people who breathe in this air, and also we drink. We also need healthy water to drink, and that doesn't have toxins. So thank you so much for sharing your perspective and your research on circular economy. Dr. Ali, I have my second question for you. So drawing on your expertise in also project planning and management, what are some successful case studies or projects from other regions that could serve as an inspiration to the UAE in fostering sustainable practice?
As a matter of fact, as we discussed, all of us, the importance of preserving the ecological habitat, for example. When I was working with United Nations, UNDP, I was assigned for this part of the world, this area here, the Arabian states. And there is one unique, I'm shedding light on the importance of protected areas, the heritage, which UNESCO, one of the UN organization, that they are keen of preserving the human heritage. In this part of the world, in this area, of course, to preserve the biodiversity, it's not an easy concept because this is very important. It's a natural habitat, it's a natural areas. So at that time, I came with some of my colleagues, experts, to write a study, preliminary study, on how to preserve the biodiversity of one country in this area, which is Yemen. Yemen has one of the unique biodiversity islands in the world, and that was also admitted by UNESCO as a mankind preservation heritage. If you Google, under what they call Socotra Island, this is a very unique, plants, fauna, and flora exist more than 3,000 to 4,000 years old, and they are very unique because it's isolated from the other parts, from Africa and from Southeast Asia. That particular island, the biodiversity is very high. It contains 33% of the world biodiversity, plants, flora, and fauna worldwide. Now, the project which we developed it as a part of United Nations support to Yemen, that we had what you call it, the biodiversity zoning. We do zoning, that that there should be stages, how to preserve, this ecological heritage from any the impact. either from industry or from, the development of urban development or others. So we develop a strategy for biodiversity. The first part is we call it the core zone. It's a zoning, it's a biological zoning. The core zone that's prohibited, that the government cannot touch it. This is for the mankind, for the humanity, for the people of the world, because it preserves or it contains a very unique plants, flora, and fauna. After that, the core zone, there comes the buffer zone. The buffer zone is an area where 20 to 30% can be used for tourism, for example, or for the other aspects for urban development, but a very narrow percentage, the buffer zone. And the rest of the zones or the areas, it's an urban development zone that can be used, for example, for tourism, to develop tourism, housing, for example, for research, for academia. They can, as I said, it's 33% of the world endemic species found in this area. It's very unbelievable, especially the dragon blood trees,
Tree,
we call
yeah.
it. I think you heard about it.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I urge
The
you to
dragon
look it
blood,
up.
yes. You see, it's very, very unbelievable. It's like an umbrella, but it's turn upside down. It's huge. When you see it, unbelievable. And when you scratch it, it comes, the excretion, doctor, the excretion of that comes like blood. And that's why in the old history and the old books of the ancient, records during the Latin and those, they call it the dragon blood because in that area there was only some stories that the dragon lives in such an area. So the excretion of the blood of the tree, it's like a blood, red, and it has many meaningful and interested use in medicine, in agriculture also, and in human heritage, the nutrients. So these kinds of I can say unique plants or flora. It was advised to the government of Yemen at that time. This was 10 years as one decade, and to preserve this from UNESCO, to preserve this island for the humankind, for mankind preservation. Yeah. And also there is some very unique species of animals, which is not found in any part of the world, and reptiles, and sometimes very unique. Yeah. So this can be translated or transferred to UAE in the sense to preserve certain very important mangrove, sanctuaries or mangrove. It's a community in Ras Al Khaimah, for example, in Abu Dhabi, Dubai. Yeah. So we can have a core zone for it, buffer zone for tourism that they can come and I think at the big, what's your organization?
ICBA.
ICBA, yeah. Yes. They are very keen for the saline, tourism in the mangrove areas and those other areas. So this was one of the projects which I feel it was very successful worldwide, and then can be experienced or translated to UAE and especially for tourism development.
Of course, yeah. No, the Socotra, right? Socotra Island is absolutely incredible. It's a little funny because I happened to Google it maybe 2 weeks ago, and I was stunned. Those trees are the most unique looking trees I've seen in my life. They really do look like upside down umbrellas.
The dragon blood
trees.
And by the way, Ms. Jinan, UAE is very, very keen and interested about this, idea. With, of course, the permission of the government of Yemen. Yeah. But the UAE now, they want to develop it in the sense of tourism, for the tourism perspectives. Yes.
Yeah, definitely a lot of things can be learned just from the conservation of Socotra Island and the unique biodiversity that lives there, especially considering that our biodiversity here, like in any region of the world is very, very unique. So thank you so much.
Excuse me, I just want to add something.
Sure.
The marine environment there also, unbelievable.
Yeah.
You can look and see, you know, the bed of the water. You can see the fish. You see the other, you know, creatures, because of the clarity of the water.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and also there are places unbelievable. You can drink the water.
Wow.
This fresh water inside the Madhukar, you know, in our.
Yeah.
So it is in an area where the fishermen used to go there, and they take in the water and they can drink it. It's a fresh water, and that. So it's very unique ecological, you know, community part of
Yeah, definitely a lot of lessons learned that could be applied here. Thank you so much, Dr. Ali. Mr. Thibault, I have my last question for you. In your experience working across different continents, have you observed any common challenges in the global energy sector's efforts to move towards environmental sustainability? And perhaps, how can these lessons be applied to the UAE?
So not so easy to captivate the audience about global energy issues after being transported to Socotra. Let me make an attempt. Indeed, I've been privileged to live in many different countries, different continents, and what I've observed in the way that countries respond to these challenges, I think, can be summarized by thinking of this idea of the energy trilemma. Right, so this trilemma is, quite well known, and it basically has to do with energy availability, reliability, energy affordability, and of course sustainability. Right, and I think you see going into different countries how different countries navigate this, difficult issue. Right, some places may be only focused on producing energy. Some other parts of some other country may be more focused on the sustainable aspects, which make, of course, a lot of sense. But we cannot live without energy, right? We cannot function without energy. Life is energy. Energy and life are actually synonymous. So I think it's important to have these three sort of concept in mind, and I think that's the way that at Ragas, like other responsible energy industries and energy corporation, we try to navigate this complex trilemma. Now, UAE, I think, is a very good example of a well-managed and a well-thought-out approach to these three different issues. As we know, UAE came through energy. Energy is still a major sector, but you also see, and our discussion today is an example, a lot of focus towards more sustainable initiative. We talked about nuclear, we talked about green energies, solar, which is a very big topic here. Some of the biggest solar farms in the world are in UAE. So, I think for a young country, a young upcoming country, he has taken a lot of the good from other more mature nation, and I'm really enthused and really keen to see UAE growing on that path.
Thank you so much, Thibault. It's wonderful to hear what RAC Gas is doing, and also just talking about the global energy sector and how it's navigating some of these admittedly complex challenges in our transition towards more renewable energy and also greater sustainability. As Dr. Ani mentioned, this is the second year that the UAE has prioritized sustainability. Year 2024 and 2023 are both very much sustainability focused, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to talk about sustainability today. I have asked many questions, and I can see that our time is running out. So I just wanted to turn to the audience and ask if anyone has any questions for our lovely speakers. Going once? Going twice, or shall we end on time?
It seems that they have enough energy, so they're cool. They don't want, they want to say that.
Yeah.
Or maybe our, contribution of thoughts and brilliant knowledge. So
Yeah, I think
they have a good, they grab a good concept of knowledge that they have.
definitely. I think you guys have given, honestly, you've given me a lot to think about, from soil to circular economy to renewable energy to the United Nations and Socotra Island. There are so many wonderful takeaways from this amazing panel.
Yeah, I just want to say for the audience that if they are keen, especially our European, friends, they like to go travel and they want to, from Dubai, there are sustainable traveling to Socotra directly from Dubai to Socotra through the travel agencies there. You will see something which we never see in your life. It's unbelievable. Other than, there is one thing, the cucumber, that was when we went there, the first time in my life, the cucumber is known for farmers in the agriculture. It is grown on the soil, on the top of the soil.
Oh.
The cucumber.
Really?
In Socotra, you find it is coming out from the trees, and it's coming out of it. Something unbelievable.
That's incredible.
And it's very delicious, very sweety, the cucumber. Money.
But Dr. Ali, do we need visas?
No visa.
No visa?
No visa, because I will tell you, the travel agencies in Dubai, they manage it with the Yemen embassy.
Yeah.
And to encourage. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so
happy
much.
to hear.
Yeah, you've been there? Have you been there? You love it, yeah?
And when did you go, if I may ask? Last year. Oh,
Wow,
wow. And no visas, right?
Great.
Just
Have you
had to
been to the dragon blood trees up? It's almost like 1,000 feet, above the sea level on the mountains. You go up and you see. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So you supported my speech. Thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been amazing. Thank you so much to our lovely audience. But please, a big, big round of applause for our wonderful speakers today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your time and for coming down, for those of you who are outside of Ras Al Khaimah, but also to our wonderful Ras Al Khaimah residents, Dr. Uday. Thank you all so much. And have a lovely evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ginan, on the behalf of all the colleagues. Thank you so much.
Thank you.